All right, welcome back. So now that you've gotten past your fear, you understand how natural birth actually works. You understand the induction traps, and you now know the true purpose of your birth plan. It is time to recognize how to hire your care provider. Or if you've already got a care provider, to see whether or not they're truly going to support your birth. Because the last thing you want is to get to the very end of your pregnancy, bring in your birth plan, which I have already told you not to do, and then have your care provider bait and switch you. So, this session is all about avoiding the bait and switch, avoiding them pushing you into an induction that you were not expecting them to push you into, and avoid getting tricked into a C section. Because let me just tell you that oftentimes the problem is not that your body was not working, it's that you didn't see the signs that your care provider already had a plan for you, and it was not your true natural birth plan. So, this is session 5, avoiding the bait and switch. And I'm going to ask the question, why do so many moms struggle to advocate for themselves with their care provider? So, in this class, we're going to explore the reasons it's so hard to advocate for yourself and what to do about it, the 5 red flags to watch out for when you are talking to your care provider, and the secret trick to getting your care provider to stop trying to control your pregnancy and birth and take you seriously. Now, I do go deeper into this inside of your Empowered Birth Academy. This is just a basic overview. And I'm also going to be sharing some additional resources inside of this session as well that I'm going to encourage you to check out. But the idea is that overall, there are so many red flags that you need to watch out for. So the reason natural birth is so hard to get is because you're falling for this bait and switch. So why do so many moms struggle to advocate for themselves? You're taught to trust the experts over your intuition. And this automatically leads to you following your care provider's lead, which they might be leading you down the wrong path. And remember when I was talking about birth plans and your roadmap and how you're thinking about you want to have pasta, and then instead of pasta, they're taking you to a burger joint that has a close to it pasta recipe. It's like there's pasta there. But that's like going to the hospital and your care provider is like, I know how to give you a natural birth. And their natural birth, it's not true natural birth. So you need to be very careful with that. So what does this look like? Well, it looks like agreeing to tests and exams you don't actually want to appease your care provider. It looks like wanting them to like you and not see you as difficult. It's doubting and second guessing your gut feelings. It's crumbling under the pressure when your care provider pushes back or cites the risks of not doing it their way, even when you know it's BS. So even if you can see these natural birth traps, you can see the induction trap and you can see what they're doing, and they're saying, oh, you have a big baby. Even if that is the case, this is still a problem if you're doubting and second guessing your gut feeling, or you want them to like you and you don't want them to see you as difficult. And so you might agree to a membrane sweep just to appease them, even though you're like, I'm not going to have this induction, but just so that they don't get mad at me, I'll do something else. But then that also puts you back into that same pattern where you're going to fall into those natural birth traps over and over. So why is it so hard to advocate? Here's the real reasons it's so hard. And it comes back to fear, which again, if you go back to session 1, you'll be able to work through those fears and understand. Here's the real reason we crumble under pressure: fear of getting in trouble with the perceived authority figure. Think about back when you were a child. If an adult told you to do something and you didn't do it, there was a punishment. So the same thing is that I don't want to make my doctor mad because they might call CPS on me. They might drop me from care. They might end up pushing back harder. They might tell me I'm a bad mom, like all of these things. Or I'm not going to get, like, the insurance company is not going to support me. All of these things is all punishment. You're afraid of getting in trouble with the authority figure, which means you're still seeing them as an authority figure, not someone you've hired. The other thing is the fear of something going wrong and not trusting your body. So you're like, well, if I don't listen to my doctor, they have 20 years of experience in this. They've seen things, they know all these problems. And if I say no, well, something bad's going to happen because they know more than me. Again, this is a problem because you actually are your own best expert, and your care provider cannot see that a lot of the things that they're doing is leading to those bad outcomes. Fish can't see the water they swim in. Our medical system is not designed to facilitate true natural birth. So, as I talked about in True Natural Birth 101, a lot of the things that are being done in the medical system for natural birth are actually derailing it. So then the other one is fear of not being liked or upsetting other people. We live in a culture where we as women, especially, have been told that we need to people please. We need to make people feel safe and comfortable around us. We need to basically be accommodating. We need to be nice. And you don't want to seem like the bitch, right? You don't want to be seen as a birthzilla. You don't want to be seen as difficult. And you haven't been taught that assertiveness is different from actual bitchiness. And let me just tell you, if somebody keeps putting pressure on you and they keep showing that they are the kind of person who is going to keep pushing back harder and harder and harder on you, the more that you're nice about saying no, you are going to end up screwed over. This is why a lot of strong, independent people fall into abusive relationships, and why strong, independent women who are like, I don't understand why I crumbled under the pressure with my care provider, why they end up getting abused is because fear of not being liked or upsetting other people or being seen in a certain way as combative. If you are afraid of that, that is how you get controlled. If you're afraid of fighting back, this is how people who are actually choosing to harm you and do things for their own reasons can hurt you. Because there are care providers out there like that. Now, if you want to go deeper with that, I do have a guide that I have included, and it tells you more about the fish can't see water idea with what's really going on with your care provider. Why are they pushing back? Why are they so afraid? Here is what I actually tell you inside of this guide about hiring, firing, and getting your care provider on board with your birth plan. I also talk a little bit about the pros and cons of each type of care provider. So I go into the details about the midwife versus medwife, and I talk about finding a truly supportive OB versus the ones and the limitations that they have in the medical system, and versus the ones that are going to hurt you. I talk about more red flags than what I'm teaching inside of this program. And I also give you some other scenarios. So if you've got any questions that are inside of the guide, you're going to be able to go through that and be like, oh, this is what I do in this situation. And this is a good time now. You can take a break, go get a glass of water, work through your workbook, and then come back when you're ready.